what's up? How's everybody's days been? I just saw that about was it Larsa Pippen? It must have been the breakup. I have to do some investigating on that stuff going on. How's everybody's days been so far? Gotta do some stuff real quick. Checking out the news reel. Yeah, I gotta read this stuff real quick. Got some stuff to write out. See what's happening. See what we working with. I know everybody's talking about Ant Edwards. Ant's getting all the attention these days right now. You know, we're gonna see what we're working with. Let's see. A lot of different things going on. The Nuggets won last night. I think Jokic is gonna definitely, Ant missed the shot at the end. It's an interesting battle though. You know. Let's see what they're saying. Yeah, they all up on reading this stuff right now. Just reading some COVID stuff. Just reading it real quick. Let's see what we got. Let's see what this is. Let's see. See, somebody's on right now. So maybe somebody will come through. Let me know what's up. And I'm welcome for comments. Hope everybody's having a good day. So what you want to talk about? I think the Steelers are getting no boy from San Francisco. That's one of the topics going on. There's a lot of talk about. If I catch people coming on, I can definitely comment. You know. So just waiting for people to come on. I see a couple people, but I ain't seen nobody say nothing yet. So just waiting. Waiting for those comments to come through. Let's see what we got. No one came back. We're just waiting for it to see what someone comes through. So we got. Just sit around and wait and see if someone comes through. Sometimes things be kind of slow. What's happening? How you doing? How you doing? How you feeling today? Good to see you. Somebody from Texas. Let's talk. How's your night going? And tell me something about yourself. I used to live in Texas. I welcome questions and thoughts and whatever you'd like to talk about. Feel free. Got family in Texas too, so feel free. Where's that place at by exactly? I should be knowing about it, but feel free to enlighten me. No, 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 but family. Ton of family in there. Ton of family. Lots of family. And I got family that go from the Spanish War to Vietnam. Let's just say that you think I was with the education I got on it, you know. Of course, I knew people in Desert Storm too, and I almost strongly considered once upon a time. What about yourself? Where you from? What's your story? Yes, I do. Talk about a lot of it. A student of quite a bit of it. It was one of my specialties growing up back in the day. What about yourself? Okay. Glad to have you through. Glad you came through. I've met some great people from there. What part exactly, though? What place? Okay. What kind of history do you like? There's all kinds of history to explore. Okay. Born and raised there all your life? Okay. Do tell. Do enlighten. Okay. What is it about that you like about WW2? Because I'll share an interesting fact. My grandfather was in World War II, and it was nothing memorable. It was not memorable at all. It was pretty sad. How you doing? How are you? Janie, Jesus, how are you? Feel free when you come on, tell me something about yourself, where you're from, and what's up, what's up, what's up. Glad you came through. I got different people coming through. One person talked, a couple of them haven't said much, so I never know. But usually, if anybody is acting funny or something, they will reveal themselves. But what's going on? Just been on about 5 to 10 minutes. Just reading through some things. Sure, you heard about Larsa Pippen? I'm good today. I'm doing all right. Where you from? No, not really. She's an attractive chick, but she don't really have no talent. She funny, but you know, she's pretty much a one trick pony. Just normal United States. Oh, apparently her and Marcus broke up. That's what Two Raw just had a video. It came on my feeder. I haven't even really checked none. I just saw that he says Jordan stays under comes in the clutch. So guess they broke up. I don't know. You know. You remember I was sharing with you yesterday about Horace Grant acting all flippity flop. So maybe that whole Bulls tour is starting to flop. I don't know. I hope so. I mean, see, this is the thing. If he wants a young family, she ain't gonna be good for him. If he wants to have fun, she's good for him. But then again, he gets worn out and his money get funny. You know she gone. You know she's the one that's trying to recapture something. So it's just not a good look. Okay, well, tell me about yourself before you go, because I didn't even know you were what you wanted to talk about. But if you come back again, I'll be here. And if you got questions, I welcome people that when you come through, please feel free to ask questions and converse about something. Because I don't mind people saying hello, but if you got a question, feel free and you tell me where you're from and go from there. But anyway, that was funny about the Ice Spice, though. Yeah, but anyway. So as you see, I did some videos today. I got some videos out. Yeah, talked about Kobe's family. Yeah, that was crazy. Let me address that. What part of Virginia you from? I do that too. I used to live in Virginia. I got family there too. So be real curious where you from. Oh yeah. So this dude, I had got this video. Cat sent me this thing where I guess LeBron had put something about 12, 10 sport games, and he talked about Shaq's career. And I was like, no, he didn't. So yeah, I had to go in on him. Yeah, I watch Aries sometimes. There's certain things I like about him when he ain't being too New York biased about his rappers. There's certain things, but he right about that part because that's that Adam Silver part I talk about all the time. That's what Adam Silver wants. Because Adam Silver be looking kind of suspect and strange himself. If you ain't seen how Adam Silver, you just kind of just saying. Okay, no, okay, I had a family member, got some family up there. I used to live more closer towards Hampton and Newport News area. Okay. Okay. That's a nice place. Yeah, I like to read and write too. What kind of artist would you like to be? Yeah, I had to go in on LeBron on that one. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of agenda with Adam Silver. See, it's funny how the question was, you said Northern Virginia. And I said, you said you want to be an artist. I said, what kind of an artist? I multitasking, but feel free to tell me, fill in the blanks about yourself. Yeah, huh, it ain't just the foreign players he's bringing in. And I got a funny feeling that somehow the Puffy J's, the whole thing is connected. I tell you all the time that Beyonce, Jay Z, and LeBron are like triplets, and Puffy's in. I'm telling you, it's a lot of connection. I just don't know if people see that this is like a volcano about ready to erupt. I think there's a lot going on. And I told you about that Gilbert Arenas thing. Oh, that thing had me. That thing I was watching Storm with that. It's like, that was. I'm telling you. I'll tell you, it's a lot closer to sports and music and all that worlds is more closer than ever. Really, you know. Okay, spread out. Okay, I ain't never heard that term before, but okay. I never heard what a spread out is, but okay. That's an interesting term. I gotta remember that one. He be like Kanye. He be he says so much. And see, the thing was is that I think I was watching Storm. They was talking about they were giggling. I think was it was it was it was it Nick Young was giggling or something. And then you heard about you gotta go now. Okay, well I'll tell you what, come back again. Let's talk some more. Feel free to hit me up because if you want to talk, I welcome again. I multitask. Whatever you want to talk about, feel free to come through. Definitely look forward to that. And glad you did stop through. Whenever you want to talk about questions, answers, let's do it. I'm always welcome to it. There is nothing that's off limit as long as we're being adult and respectful. And I'll be respectful. So as long as you're good, we keep it intelligent, we keep it fun, we keep it light, keep it humorous, but we be respectful. So tell you want to talk about, feel free. By all means. Yeah, what I heard, so yeah, you heard D'Angelo Russell and Dennis Schroeder got some beef because he trying to say that D'Angelo Russell saying that Schroeder got in the way with him and Darren Ham coaching. That mess is crazy. I'm not doing no video about no scrubs. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna touch D'Angelo. And I ain't touching D'Lo and Dennis Schroeder. But that was hilarious. I read that mess. I was like, oh, for real? That's hilarious. These Kirkies have been with the Lakers like 50, 11 times. Well, that's why he got let go the first time. D'Lo was a snitch with Nick Young. You remember with Swaggy P? That's what got his butt out of there the first. Well, he was an all right player, but you see, he was corny, and then his butt got bounced. He cried on LeBron Kobe's shoulder, and he cried on LeBron because they were gonna trade his butt 3 weeks ago. Okay, I don't know if you really know how he was about this close from getting Westbrook out of there. The only reason why he didn't get moved is because Zach Levine is on a. I don't know what Zach Levine. Zach Levine might be pulling the Ben Simmons. And okay, about what? I ain't heard what you hear about that. I always thought D'Lo just had beef with runaround cats. I didn't know he was after come with Steph. Do enlighten me on that one. I know one thing. Wherever D'Lo goes, he tends to be just gets himself in all kinds of rears. I know that. I know that for a fact. They messed up in Minnesota too. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. He was with the Golden State. Yeah, something did go down because he got his butt thrown out of there. Yeah, now that you mention it, I forget how many teams this turkey played with. You got to forgive me because I don't be spending my time keeping up with third tier guards. I'm sorry, I don't do third tier folks. Try to cheat it. Yeah, he does have delusions of grandeur. He does. The only reason why he didn't get a the only reason why he didn't get a Draymond get a Will Smith two piece from Draymond is because they weren't that good at that time when he was there because he was a, a bum. So they didn't put no he was a scrub bummy scrub they didn't put no hands on. That's the only reason. Yeah, he's always been instigating. He's a 17-point night a man, a broke Mike Conley with it, who can get hot. Some nights he can throw 20, 30 at you. Then he has them nights when he can go to 8 to 10. That's why his butt got in trouble with Ham. He almost got, I told you, the only reason is because they couldn't get the move they wanted. Believe me, if Trey Young or especially if Zach Levine was available, his butt was gone. I'm telling you, on multiple sources, his butt was gone. They told him too, and that's why he started crying and he stepped his game up. But he ain't consistent. And against upper tier guards, you see what I'm talking about. He ain't got nothing for De'Aaron Fox. He ain't got nothing for him. No, he can't be trusted. He a snitch. That's why he got his butt in trouble the first time he's with the Lakers, because that whole mess with Swaggy P. They didn't just call him D Lo, they call him D Snitch. They got his butt up out of there. He had good opportunities too. I mean, like, come on now. He played with Kobe. You know, Kobe was on the downside, playing with LeBron and AD. Played with Minnesota, with Cat and them. Played with Steph. I'm like, how many chances you gonna get? How many jerseys you gonna rock before they get tired of your whackness? And he is corny too, so yeah, he do pop off. I'm like, look, you missed a 17, 18-point game tonight. Ain't nobody sweating you. Ain't nobody sweating you. Shh. Well, that ain't saying much. Yeah, I heard. It's hard to believe. But then again, he's been around forever and a day. I mean, I can't really after a while because, you know, I mean, he has been around forever and a day. I mean, I go back 40 years with him, but he's been around forever and a day. I mean, sometimes you look at somebody and you just kind of almost take them for granted because they've been around so long. But he is older now, though. But okay. I remember because I thought Stan Van Gundy was in the witness protection program. Because when he got out of Miami, I never saw that turkey again. And I remember because Stan couldn't figure out how to utilize Shaq and Wade. And then they brought that's when they brought Alonzo back because they were saying, well, no, they wanted him because they weren't going to win. That's when he had Vince Carter and them. They weren't going to win. So it wasn't no divas. They weren't going to win. And one thing about veterans is this: is he more of a diva than Rasheed Wallace? Because Rasheed knew he wasn't going to win, got traded to Atlanta, and Detroit picked him up. So same thing happened with Zoe. They said, "Come get this ring." He worked himself back to Miami because he was a heat head. Pat Riley loved him, so that's what happened. It wasn't a diva. It was a trying to get that ring. It's like when Paul Pierce told Antonio Walker, "You better go to Miami and get that ring while you can." He knew. He knew. So he was. He came in very handy. He did the shimmy and hit some big shots. Just same thing with James Posey. Don't leave James Posey out. I gotta give James Posey. Yeah, I'll give you that. I forgot all about. He was decent for his time there. It didn't last long though. I remember him very well. No, he wouldn't. So I got to stop right there. He's not. Zoe can talk, but he's not that entertaining for me. No, no. You got to have a certain kind of personality to go against Skip. And don't think Zoe would waste his time with that. You going by Cheney by that eruption with Calipari. That ain't going to happen on there. He wouldn't waste his time with Skip. First of all, ain't no dignified brother going to waste their time with Skip. And when I say that, that's not a diss to Fiery Brothers, but dignified, they're not going to spend their time with him. They're going to think he's going to talk a bunch of foolishness to get ratings and stir up stuff. They're not going to waste their time. And then you got to have a certain kind of personality with Skip I'm just saying, and that's not saying that you're not intelligent, or but you got to have a certain kind of street type of edge and humor and snark and all that. Most cats ain't gonna waste their time going with no Skip. No, because I mean, if you're gonna get someone that talks like that, you'd have to get somebody that has, first of all, to be with Skip Bayless. Okay, let me just tell you like this before we go any further, right? You got to have a name. You got to have some kind of vocal, you know, and reflections where people kind of know who you are. Tiki's just a New York thing. He ain't that interested. He had a little bit, not enough. Cheney, not enough. Zoe, not interesting. I told you, you got to have a personality, got to have some clout, got to have some respect, got to kind of, it takes a certain type of personality with him. Certain type. None of them three would cut it. And two of them three would probably cut his neck. If but they gotta have someone to replace him with. Who they got? Paul Pierce can't carry no show by himself. Now, if they can get their hands on Max Kellerman and they bring Rachel Nichols, like I said, then we might talk. They need like a female white counterpart to Joy Taylor. So bring Rachel Nichols, check. Paul Pierce athlete, check. Go bring Max Kellerman, check. If you let Skip go, you let Sherman go, you let Keyshawn go, okay? Then you got to figure out who's the fourth wheel. Got to have somebody that's kind of like Shady McCoy, but someone. So I got to think who would be the fourth wheel, because you got to clean the whole Skip playlist out. You can't keep that crew. I believe they could, but they ain't got nothing to replace them with. What did Wiley say? Hines Ward can't save him. He not you. You got to get somebody. See, you're mentioning great players, but you got to have some personality. When they got Shannon, Shannon had a personality. You got to have personality, not just success, but someone that's got some kind of. I believe that. I believe that. And the sad part is this: Wiley's pompous and use big words and tries to be all swashbuckling. He's kind of gives me. Does he give you Terry Crews vibes without the starburst? It's like Terry Crews without the starburst, but he gets a little bit animated. But he couldn't sell nothing. He was always a sidekick to the sidekick. That's what Wiley don't get. Like I liked him on the Bills and everything, but as a broadcaster and analyst on TV, he's a sidekick to the sidekick. That means he's three doors down from the first tier, second tier. Okay, he think he deeper than what he is. Now Ocho did tap dance, and think about it, I hate to say it, African will tap on you. Ocho over. It's like, oh, gosh, oh, joy. Oh, I see Ocho be doing that. Anthony Davis, like, I see that. And I'm like, come on, man. Just make your point. His glasses get all foggy. His head, he be looking like he's like a medium version of Little Reels or something. It's like, I can't tell what you're trying to say, Ocho. Because he's really trying to get it out like he wants to be a wannabe preacher. And they work with him because there is some appeal to him. I sense it. But I think that if you got somebody that was less animated, but he's animated, yeah, see, that doesn't work. And Wiley got hooked up because of who? Jason Tap Dancing Whitlock, okay? Who's like a broke clock who once in a while, he did talk a lot about LeBron and he did a Victor Conti thing. I don't know if you've seen it or not, because Wiley's got that whole thing with Victor Conti on the YouTube. I don't know if you've seen it. Check it out. It's good. It's some good stuff. When he hit, which ain't that often, Whitlock got some interesting stuff because that Victor Conti stuff is real. You should check it out if you ain't seen it. But Ocho is so animated, and he got over. He got over. Wiley's like this animated cheeseburger, like McBurger's like, oh, he's gonna be like so deep in problem. But he rode off of Whitlock, and he rode off of Max Kellerman. He's always been a rider to a rider. No one's gonna ever give Wiley his own show because he ain't that dude. Ocho don't mind playing team ball. So I peeped them out. But now, back to your question. Now, Hines, smart dude and everything. No, no. You gotta have a contrarian with Skip. The only smart person I know who could be dignified enough to probably pull it off with Skip, but yet maybe if it's Strahan, because he can play straight and go win. He's able to, because he kind of feeds off of Jimmy John. I watch how he operates. But you got to have somebody that not only thick skin, can take a joke, can balance, but can navigate shows. That's why you get certain people on the show. That's why Keyshawn get a job. That's why Sherm get a job. They got to be kind of fiery. They almost got to be like they bought and paid to act on cue. But I told you before, most of them on there are tap dancing. I hate to tell you that. And I ain't gonna break nobody's heart, but that's how it usually works. They kind of screen you. They want you to be a certain way. I'm just telling you. That's why you have to sit up there every day and hear the same old regurgitated topics. Because usually the ones that don't make it or get bored with it is because they don't get bought and paid off, or they're gonna be tired of that crap. That's why. I ain't lying. I kid you not. No, no, nope. See, you it can't just be someone. Cap will only speak to a certain segment about certain things. They're not going to want to hear Cap talking about other topics. It's got to be someone. It wouldn't be Abdul Raul either. knowledgeable. Now, see, Craig Hodges would be entertaining because Hodges won. He got Jordan stories. He's got a lot of stories and culture. He'd be an interesting one, but he ain't gonna get no Craig Hodges. But he would be interesting. He would be interesting. You know who would be real interesting from basketball? You know who would make Paul Pierce look like he make Paul Pierce like a choir boy, but where he's going. You know who it is, and I'm talking about from a white perspective. You know the ultimate answer to this. You know who I'm gonna tell you who would be the ultimate, and he's white, and he would give Skip the blues. You know who it is. Take a guess. Take a guess. And if you need a guess, no, not no scrub, not no bum. No, somebody that's a Hall of Famer, top 50, top 75, white. Now think. And I'll give you a big clue. He would have been if this was about 25 years ago, 30, and Jerry was into those kind of debates. He would be. He would be, but he don't have the snark. That's the only thing about West. He throws some cold shots, but he ain't snarky. I'll give you a big clue since you ain't gonna guess. Golden State Warriors. Yep. Now that would be the dude. That would be the dude. Anybody listen to this broadcast and you say, who would you put with Skip and make a Skip eat it? Be that man. Cause that's the white boy that he still be talking. They asked him in some interview just recently. They said that your older players, how they would fare today. He said we'd be better. He said we more fundamental, we got more skill. Rick Barry's still telling it right now. Rick Barry don't stop for nobody. I'm gonna do that video too tomorrow. I saw his video. He's still talking too. Oh yeah, Rick Barry would be the one. The Skip would never have that. You know, and Rick Barry is not. It's not like you look at Rick Barry and think that he exactly down with the brothers or black folk, because it ain't exactly like you get this um white dude who didn't sold, the trip, but he talks so real. Uh, they don't touch him. They don't touch Rick Barry. I had a discussion with a buddy of mine about that. We used to talk about Rick Barry. I said they don't let him get no microphone. Mm-mm. They treat him like they treat Oscar Robinson and some of the brothers and Dr. J too. They don't let him get in no microphone. Rick Barry don't be pulling no punches. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you nailed it about Ocho and all that. The whole thing with Wiley is hilarious. That's hilarious. They do well. They think they can shuffle more for the others until somebody, because they understand it's like a trick of you part of the trade. So when they get tired of you, somebody else got to come along and shuffle. You only get so much time before a new shuffler comes along. They looking for a younger version, and one will be even more zestier and tapping than you are. That's how it go. That's how it go. But you will tolerate how more bucking. I didn't hear about that, but do tell that to me. That might be an interesting story. Go tell me more. I ain't even think about that. I haven't even really paid J. Cole a lot of mind in years, a few years, because um, I ain't heard nothing. Oh, that's interesting. Think I should do a video about that, huh? Let me know. I'll do some detective work on that one. That's a good one. Thank you for that heads up. I might make that one happen. J. Cole. Yeah. Jay-Z works for the suits. What you expect? Write that down. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. I wonder what his asking price is. One thing you learn is, and I think what J. Cole is probably looking at too, is that he's not old, but he's starting to get long in the tooth because his hit album came out some years ago now, right? And there ain't that much money. And so now without that, and depends on what what your video expenses were, what your marketing expenses were. He may be asking for, I don't know, he may be wanting like 20 mil. Are they all worse? Because Jay-Z, no, he not worse than Diddy. No. Diddy waited to just what, the last 2 years and gave everybody back their masters when they were not worth a lot, because now artists do get the money, but the problem is that they can't really profit because there's no longer the video age. There's no longer the record shop age. So if they got to sell all these streams, there ain't nothing there. So by the time they got their masters back, most of his artists are either not really recording anymore, and their payday kind of came and went, and they got peanuts on the dollars. So now Jay-Z sold off, I forgot what he did. He sold off something, and what he do? He sold off, I forgot whose it was. I think he traded Kanye. It was something he did, and that's how he got his thing. But they cut from the same cloth, though. They cut from the same walnut. Jay-Z learned about the game from Diddy. When he was doing his whole thing with Def Jam as a president, he learned this whole thing. He bought and paid some things, but Puffy got the teaching that that's why they kissed the ring of Diddy. Gotta remember something. Jay-Z did not have a Clive Davis to sponsor him initially. You know, there's a lot that goes on with that. That he basically bug danced and tapped in one of the worst kinds of sellouts, and no talent. Sold an image, sold one of the worst stereotype images of black artistry you can imagine. People bought it and ran with it. Cracks me up how people kiss a guy's ring who can't even find a middle C on the keyboard, who doesn't produce, doesn't write, you know, had a white sugar daddy, and how he gets blowed up. But he's a great marketer. I give him that. But there's a lot of things. It's just as that he's a fake artist, a puppet who got over. That's what sads to me, and people fell for it. That he is seen as this incredible producer when he's really a great arranger who knew how to find songs, but he gets more credit for being this mastermind that's in the studio. Like he came with all these parts. He didn't. He was only as good as the artist he had, which I'm gonna tell anybody as a producer, you're only as good as the artist you have. Not saying you don't earn your right as a producer, but somehow people make these producers like they pimps and artists is their prostitute, like they some you only as good as the team you got. When you don't have top tier around you, it ain't been the same for Quincy without Michael Jackson. I heard his records post Michael. He didn't do it for Tevin Campbell like he did it with Michael. You see a talent, but he didn't bring those kind of records. Quincy's always been more. He tried to be hard on Aretha Franklin, hard on Donna Summer, hard on folks, and they called him out because he wasn't doing all that as a producer. He had a team, and the guy, like I said, the guy got an incredible ear for putting your work with the musicians and how he can create as an arranger. Incredible arranger, good producer, not much of a songwriter. He knows his way around stuff, but he knows how to put people in places. That's his strength. That's his bread and butter. He knows how to make stuff happen. He's got enough of best of both worlds to pull it off. However, he get way too much credit. Way too much credit. It wasn't like he was. There's a producer named Tom Bell. If you don't know, that man went in and did parts. That man went in there and did changes, did the whole nine with every instrument with vocalists. Quincy Jones doesn't do that. I want to say Leon Hall from Gambling Hall, same thing. Um, he was a good musician, not great. Um, you know, heavy-handed, insecure. Didn't even start to realize he had a gold mine in Tina. I hate it when people who have something great take it for granted and act like that's going to just happen again because there's always parts where you get somebody that's really, really connecting in the elements and the stars of what you're doing. And you got to say, okay, I appreciate him. And I don't think he appreciated what she brought to the table near enough because she was a gold mine for him. He never had the equivalent to that again. He was a good band leader, but he didn't have the equivalent to that again. Because you know what they say, you tried 99, like Jay-Z, and much I can't stand Jay-Z, what he told Damon Dash, since you created one, go get another one. Make it happen again. That's what the great ones can do. Um, the tough guy facade is hilarious. Um, 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 the tough guy, the word was he was a rental boy back in the day, got hooked up, just saying. He tries to come across all deep and he's into this, so soft philosophical thing. I like some of his movies, but I mean, I never been blown away by him. He got hooked up long ago, tough guy persona. I think that his directing, certain things he does is interesting, but I don't think that he's as deep as they make him out to be. I just don't, you know, I just don't. Just one of them white boys that kind of, you know, was around, hit some big box office and blew up a little bit, but wasn't that deep. I guess the only thing I would have a problem with if he maybe speaking out against Mel Gibson. Other than that, I don't really have much about Danny. 'Cause Danny, one of them real brothers. I remember he came out a long time ago and said Hollywood ain't nothing but cosmetics. He said that years ago. You don't see him all at the parties, all grinning, all shuffling. He doesn't get that much love like that. But he's a versatile actor. He done a little bit of every kind of movie. So I ain't got nothing, aside from maybe him speaking out against Mel Gibson. I got nothing to say about Danny. Danny's all right with me because I think he's kind of underappreciated personally. He never gets the same due as some others, and he's put in the work, and he's had movies. He's had some big movies. It's because I think Grand Canyon, To Sleep with Anger are underrated works by Danny. You know, his range for his versatility make him underrated, but some of his choices, some of the stuff he's done, you kind of like, mm, he's about where he's supposed to be because he's not going to ever be. He's kind of like a cat that was like, he never was going to be Denzel. He wasn't leading man, but he was a tough guy, kind of. But he didn't have Wesley's appeal fully. and he didn't have Samuel Jackson's snark and attitude. So he's somewhere in between that. That's where he's at.
It's odd how, in an instant, things can transform, slipping out of balance into free fall. I'm glad I found stability in goals, standing the test of time.
How'd you eat yours? Such cream egg test. Find out who you really are.
So that's how I feel about him. You know, I think he now I won't say he bucked. I think he had negroid tendencies, meaning he loved the lifestyle. How I say this about Red? He loved the lifestyle. It's kind of like OJ, but not like OJ, but kind of like in the sense he loved that lifestyle too much to let it go. Because it's like he snorted it, lived it, wanted it. And I know he cried when the IRS came and took everything he had at his door. I remember that, and that was a sad time. So he loved it. So does that make him a buck dancer? He was taught up in that world because he got accustomed to that world. He spoke out, however, he liked that lifestyle. He spoke out, however, he didn't want to let it go. So it was kind of contradictory. There was some contradiction with it, you know. I told you it's a asterisk by black entertainers and athletes because if you get some kind of notoriety, they put money on you, they got to see something there with you, and there is some expectation. So some cats, I'm gonna say it like this. You only gonna hear it here. So you ready? Some cats are gonna pay for it by how they shuffle their feet. Some cats are gonna pay for it how they shuffle their booty. Some are gonna pay for it how they talk. It's gonna come out somewhere. And that might not be fashionable to say, but it's gonna come out one of the three because you gotta give up. I say this all the time. I repeat and I'm gonna say it again. What I say, cheeks for checks, booty for looty. I ain't making it up. You gotta give up. You don't just cross over like that. It's too much going on. That's not saying they buck. I'm just saying. Feet, cheeks, words. There you go. FCW. Let me write that down. That's the new quote. That's the quote. People might not like it when I say it about some of their favorites. I gotta keep it 100 because if you notice, right, if you start walking a certain way, they got you walking like you're talking. FCW. That's true. And you heard it here first. Anybody else I talk about it? I talk about it like that. I quote it. It ain't because I've been watching Judge Joe Brown, but you just observe how some of these cats move and who they in the circles they move in. Okay, MJW, pet peeves about old MJW. He's a one that always try to be deeper than he is. I see him when he's playing his bass, and my cousin cracks on him all the time. She says he does the same role all the time in his movies. His movies and his TVs is pretty corny. He's an over the top, deeper guy who he he's a never was. He was big on Cosby Show, and I know Malcolm and Eddie, but he's a never was. It never really got off the ground. He had a show with um down in Tracy Ellis. I watched that show on BT. That thing went wood. She works with and works with um for Blackish, and that thing blows up. See, there's that, and she did a movie with MJW with Malcolm. He just doesn't connect like that, you know. Well, give me an example of that last one, because I want to know. There's a few reasons why I have Curry over him. Better team leader, because to me that carries weight. I tell you right now, if you give Curry, Anthony Davis, how you doing, GOAT? If you put Curry with AD right now and that team the Lakers got right now, Curry and them would be top 5 or 6. You take LeBron to Golden State with Wiggins, Draymond Green and them, they right where they are, if they're that lucky with Clay right now. Curry won in 2022 with Andrew Wiggins, a man that LeBron James did not want on his team. One with Draymond Green, who was past the pull date by 3 or 4 years. One with Klay Thompson, who was coming back from back-to-back injuries and being a half of a Klay. And Dolacek, the white dude, and Gary Payton the second, and Otto Graham. You can't tell me nobody on that 22 team. I'll get to that just a second. You can't tell me about that 22 team that LeBron would have played with more than half the season before All-Star break before he tries to roll them over like bowling pins. Please do. That's leadership. That's winning. That's a high order. That's say, get on my back, I got you. Making Wiggins look like an all-star. Who has LeBron made look like an all-star in LA? Did he do it necessarily with Josh Smith in Cleveland? Did he do it with Rio Chalmers in Miami? Did he do it with Austin Reeves with the Lakers? That carries big weight in my eyes. Can you not only lead a team, win with a team, but say, get on my back, I got you? LeBron don't do that. Curry has done that. And along with changing the course of the basketball. Who's shooting logo shots trying to match Steph? LeBron. Impact means something. Will to win means something. LeBron tell you right now that he holds Curry in high regard, begrudgingly or not. He has to acknowledge him. He said him and AI changed the course. He's mentioned those two in particular. But Curry, because he's won without a Kevin Durant with. Do you think LeBron James could win without a big-time player? Do you think he could win? Because let's put those first 3 rings aside. Let's talk 2022, shall we? Could LeBron have won that with that squad? Answer that question. Because to me, that's what carries big weight. Well, I got Curry over him. Now, LeBron's got all these stats and all these pumped up. That's wine and dined. And you can say he's a better talent and all that. But if I'm taking them, no. Now, okay, let me address the Clay part. The delusion, he's still thinking he's going to come back from what he is. He's not. The injuries caught up. His game deteriorated offensively. And that's where he is. You have some moments. He wanted more money. It wasn't there. He's not the same dude. He has to accept his role and play himself back. That's the sad part. Great player, has to bring it back, has to accept where he is. Can still have some moments. He came up big against the Lakers the other night, but he doesn't do that with consistency. He's stronger. That's why Kuminga got moved on. That's why he told Draymond to work with Kumingas, because Kumingas is where Clay ain't. That's the reality. Now, Curry impact in terms of the streets, like if you're talking about in terms of people can feel they can relate to him. But LeBron is what they keep on their mouths. LeBron is what they sell, JJ, all the stuff. Uh, was Kevin Love still part of that team? Did he did not change the whole squad, get Rodney Hood, Derrick Rose, and all these other pieces to come to that team? Did he not dismantle his team back-to-back years? Did he not do that? And when Steph and them won the first one, I know Kyrie and Love, but Steph and them won. Iguodala, David Lee. It was pretty evenly not what you call a team of all stars. No one was exactly scared of an older Barbosa or Sean Livingston, okay, or Harrison Barnes or some of those guys. They weren't exactly scaring people. As a matter of fact, you can make the case with the 2016 team. Thank you. Who did Steph Curry has an all-star with that it was on the 2022 team? Please remind me. Kevin Love was considered better in 2018 than Andrew Wiggins was in 2022 for the most part. You didn't even, Wiggins was almost like Ben Simmons, like you were wondering, is he ever going to touch the needle? but he wasn't seen as Kevin Love was. And he wasn't a threat as considered a great player. He was almost like a comeback player. No one was looking at Wiggins as this dude. He flourished because he played with Steph Curry. My point is, I can make you if you play with the Knicks. We talked about, me and Ted talked about D'Angelo. D'Lo thought he was better. It didn't happen. Who was the other cat that played with Golden State that acted all big headed besides Jordan Poole and D'Lo? There was another one. It didn't work out there. They got rid of his behind. Wiggins took his role, and his defense came up, and he had big moments. But let's not act like that was a work in progress. Steph was Steph. Steph took the battle up against Jason Tatum, who is arguably been the U.S. American version most important player by the powers that be the last 3 or 4 years. Now, Steph is bigger in stature and legacy. However, if I'm sitting up here watching these so-called heads on TV, they always talking about, oh, Jason Tatum. Oh. Thank you. I knew it was one of them turkeys. Thank you. They didn't fit. Now, I ain't got no problem if you want to take LeBron over Steph. But I'm going to make my point why I take Steph over LeBron. Because he makes people better. You get results. I dare you to put LeBron with Wiggins and Clay and Draymond and Kumingas and Looney and see what happens. I dare you. Put Steph with Anthony Davis and see if Anthony Davis don't be an all-star and he can growl all the time. He'll be growling in his sleep to play with that guy. Tell me Reeves won't look better. Tell me that please. Ham would look like Ham would be hamming for real. He'd be grinning. It's two different types of how you are as a leader. This is another reason why LeBron can't be mentioned in the Jordan conversation, which I don't even deck, because he don't lead subtly and he sure as heck don't lead openly. What's this here on Two Raw came out this video where Spencer Dinwiddie's already frustrated with LeBron. And he just got through talking about Luka was a diva and he didn't want to deal with him. What was it, 2 weeks ago? He ain't been in LA a hot LA minute and he's already in the doghouse. Why is that? How the heck you got some almost 40-year-old man putting you in your rears because you get in the way, because you don't fit? Yet you had a blocked shot against Dame Lillard just 2 weeks ago on defense, but yet you're not good enough. Man, please. You don't hear that mess with Steph Curry. You don't hear that mess coming out with Steph Curry. Val Joe, remember Val Joe with the curly fro? He looked like he could have been the brother of the Puerto Rican girl that was in Scarface. Remember the one that had the afro? Tony Montana's sister. Vera Joe looking like her brother with the fro. He came out to Golden State. He had more fun with Steph. Said Steph, because Steph got a way about him. Of course you'd want to play with Steph. LeBron would like to play with him too, quiet as this kept. Believe me, if he was about 5 years younger, LeBron would be crying to crawl over there. Please. That's why Shaq always gives Steph his due. Because he know what he made of. Steph put fear in people's hearts, okay? Shoot. That's another reason why he bet on LeBron. You think you're going to go against some guy? Yeah, they won the chip together. You think you're going to go get some guy who can hit you from midcourt with a dagger and shimmy on you? Steph be breaking people's feelings. He broke some feelings. He balled out. If I'm lying, how come Kevin Durant ain't exactly got on title contender teams? What happened to Kevin Durant? Why everyone looking at Kevin Durant like, yeah, you great, but half of you's on a milk carton? Why is that? Yeah. I'm just saying. You see where Jordan Poole is. Now let's look at some of the guys who done left LeBron and what ends up happening to them and what ends up with their careers. See, he probably did because the finals was his heyday and he stunk it up and choked in that finals. He's a regular season. I told you he's like Junior Whopper Paul George, which are Junior Whopper Kobe's. I'm trying to tell you, I call these cats out. I be trying to tell you. And you see, the problem with them is that him and KD, one of them, they be each looking for a leader, someone to grab the bull by the horn. They ain't the dudes. Durant's a better player in his sleep than Booker will ever be, but he ain't a leader. And Bradley Beal ain't the answer. They got a lot of loose guns there, but they don't have people that can, you know. I'm just saying, you know. Booker's a, scoring talent, but he ain't no top 5 player. He ain't no. All right, what's up, SRG? Oh, believe so. Believe so. I believe so. Let me see something. I don't even know who you talking about. I ain't said nothing about that from Arizona. No, I ain't seen nothing like that. Oh, I see what you got. No, I ain't touching that. No, I ain't touching that. But anyway, let's keep this thing going because I got sidetracked with that. Yeah, I got him up out there because I looked that up on YouTube. That ain't something that I want to touch. But anyway, Booker, yeah, that's the thing with Booker. I think he may have peaked. I think 2021 may have been it. That finals may have been it. I think so. Anyway, I think I made my points about Steph and LeBron. You can choose who you want. I ain't saying you right. I ain't saying you wrong. It's a matter of opinion. But I think that when you look at the body of totality, all those things have to be considered. Stop letting stats dictate you. If we go by stats, LeBron looks better than a lot of people. However, we go by results and what he's had to work with, that tells another story. Because that's how they use analytics. They use everything to decide that this is that. And it's not always the case. There's a totality that's different. Some guys have incredible runs of numbers. I got it. Catching all kinds of weirdos tonight. It's crazy. But anyway, um, they have their place. However, they don't always tell the truth because they will try to justify. Again, we're talking about different eras, different styles, different ways it's played. It's not fair and it's hard to really put in perspective. So, well, it depends on who you're talking about. I mean, if you're talking like Bruce Bowen to Kobe, is that what you're talking about? If you're talking about Scottie Pippen's defense on, I mean, it depends on who we're talking about. You can't really talk about unless you talk about in the past tense, because you sure as heck ain't talking about it now. You know, it's funny when I see someone like John Wall come out and say he can't even watch today's NBA. That should tell you something, because John Wall was a guy who, for intents and purpose, bummy, and almost became like a never was, because it was talent there. He could move and run, but he didn't finish out. But if he's saying it's hard to watch this NBA, and it's got to be tough for him because he was a 0 to 100 running player who would have been great in this era, you know. So because then it becomes a situation that's a role play. That's what you do, and I know that's going to be another one that the we're so done with the 2020 to 2000s is going to say, because how they hacked Shaq and all that, and they hacked DeAndre Jordan in the 2010s and Dwight Howard. They'll use that as a cry, but that's when centers were dominant. You couldn't stop them. They allowed that. You could actually make a case and a point that those guys who were getting hacked like that were just eating up the lane and they couldn't do nothing with them. So that's what they resorted to. But Shaq was the most dominant of them all because he could beat you in more ways than Dwight and DeAndre Jordan put together. Well, like I told you before, that's I can't really answer that because it depends on the coach. Depends on the coach we're talking about. And it depends on the team, and it's a lot of factors involved. I can't answer that. You have to give me a coach, and then I could tell you, because I can't say just the modern coaches, because they have to tolerate certain things that their predecessors might not have been have to. It's a different day and time, so you have to be more, clarify a little bit more with me on that. For instance, like Rick Carlisle coaching the Dallas Mavericks with Luca is going to be different than Jason Kidd coaching the Dallas Mavericks with Luca. Okay, that's the kind of point I'm getting at. So the Rockets coach in '86. I want to say, was that? God, see, now I got to look back. Was that John Lucas? Let me look. I can answer that better looking at it. I think that was Bill Fitch. Bill Fitch. Yep, Bill Fitch. Boy, Bill Fitch, interesting too, because he went against Larry Bird. Um, I'd have to say, I'd say '86. Competition was tough. I know you're gonna say Mike Brown went against San Antonio, won a no-win situation. I understand that, but Bill Fitch coaching that Rockets team with Twin Towers against the Celtics were a better run than San Antonio was at the time. And the Spurs did win their third. The Rock, the good, interesting question. But I thought with the front court of the Celtics, that was a special. They only lost one game at home that year. And if things had gone right for that Boston team, Lynn Byers was waiting in the off season. That's how crazy that was back then. Oh, one Larry, because you must know I know this stuff off the top. Funny you mention it, because Mike Dunleavy Sr., coaching the Lakers, I still amazed how they beat Portland in the 7 game series to get to the finals. That's one of the reasons why I hold runner ups and I do give runner ups love. Sometimes being a runner up was a great season because you really didn't have no business being there. That's a good classic example. That Laker team that had no business beating Portland, Magic threw that ball down the court. I didn't think that team was good enough to go to the finals with Magic, Vladi, and them, but they did. And that Portland team was something else. There was 3 straight years in the Western Conference Finals, and 2 out of those 3 in the finals. I thought that Portland team was better. I still don't know how they lost that because they were something else that season. Now, Larry Brown, with what he did with Philly, was great. He had the league MVP. He was the coach of the year. They had everything. They just didn't have. The Kimby was no match for Shaq. They played good on the interior defense. They actually gave the Lakers some fits on the perimeter as well as they could. Ori hit some big shots. That's the fact. There was a couple plays here and there. The Lakers just had more and Shaq was more. And Kobe had a few shots. However, Larry Brown did a great job because Dunleavy was more like a shock that they got to the finals. Wasn't surprised that Philly got there. There's the difference. So, yeah, I think that's the best way I can announce that I can go back in time. I want to say Washington. Um, the Washington team, that team that once again beat Denver, thought that was the toughest because I think that was a scab year and they had to do so much. I remember that scab year because they had to beat Dallas with their starters. Yeah, that was pretty impressive because I remember Craig James going off against Miami in the Orange Bowl. That was pretty impressive. I remember that. Funny you say that stuff, and now my mind starts to go back. Just I'm doing this live stream. What you doing? And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And welcome aboard. Yeah, I'd say the '85 Patriots was pretty special. That's a good call you made there. Um, the Steelers year that they were the wild that they had to be the lowest seed. That's cool. What part of the country you in? Yeah, that's a good call too. Because that Bears team, that's actually what Jay Cutler was actually. Yeah, you earned that Super Bowl. And remember he had that game. Yeah, tell more about yourself. Um, they had to come back in that game. He had that concussion against Washington. How I remember that. Well, USA. What about yourself? Um, he. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of it. I hate it when people waste my time with this. Got it. Um, that game against Washington, because a buddy of mine, good friend of mine, big Washington fan, and remember Aaron had that concussion. He was borderline concussed. They were 4-3 or something, and that was like a turning point. So I remember that very well. I remember that very well. And that was a battle against Chicago. Just that old Cutler just couldn't deliver. Yeah, I remember. only because of the Tampa Bay game. That was it. That was a battle, but they should have won that game. I mean, it wasn't like they took every ounce. That was a battle. That was a battle. I'll give you that. Mm, I can remember who they play. I think they beat Jacksonville. I know they lost to Jacksonville one year. There was one of those years they had a toughie. One of those years. But I think Pittsburgh had. I think Pittsburgh's one year when they won from the wild card. The way they did it was tough too. So yeah, he did. I remember. I remember. Probably when Michael Jackson was winning. I mean, but I think, if you go back 40 years ago, that was a historical thing. I think to see a dominant artist peak prime and what it meant. I don't really use those award shows as something to really get excited about because I can like an artist and they win. However, because of what had to happen, the radio was so segregated categories, and to see him battling against himself and how big Thriller was and all that was mind blowing. Now, before that, I would tell you Stevie Wonder in the '70s, which was incredible, and as big as that was, it was an incredible statement. But what Michael Jackson had to go through when they told him that Off the Wall was too black and that he wasn't gonna give him this, and he came out with an album that they couldn't deny. Anytime I see folks up there crying, like, ooh. Now look, Hattie McDaniel, when she won in 42, she couldn't even sit at the table. See, when people talk about Gone with the Wind, Hattie McDaniel couldn't even sit to get the award. She had to sit at the back of the room. Okay. But when I see Halle Berry going, oh my God, crying, and Tyler Perry crying, and Spike Lee jumping in some man's lap, I'm like, yeah. And what's happened to her career since then? She took off all her clothes and they never gave her another award. And has she exactly been tearing up a box office in 20 years? Nope. Which just goes to show you that the award doesn't really matter. See, Denzel is one of the few exceptions to win multiple awards, but it didn't make or break his career because every time he comes out with some deep thoughted movie, it don't do nothing. But let him play a hood or something that's stereotyped, and they want to acknowledge it. That's why it's not worth the price of tea. I don't get excited about it. And look at what it cost Will Smith. He was great in King George. However, what did it cost him? All that went down. So it's not important to win it. It's not going to make or break your career. Look what he did for Cuba Gooding Jr. Have you heard from him since? Besides, hanging out with Puffy on boats and frisking, playing cop and frisk with people. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. But it ain't made or break his career. He's hilariously wrong because I didn't know about his freaky deaky stuff on the Puffy Love boat, but his stuff is just not good. So yeah, so I don't know if you ever heard of Reggie Wright Jr. There's a show called First Bomb. Reggie Wright Jr. used to be Suge Knight's bodyguard, business association. He's got a video about them too, and so does Gene Deal. Gene Deal be on let me see if I can find it. Gene Deal be on let me get it. You can watch. Reggie talked about it, and so did Gene Deal. Let me see. Gene Deal was Puffy's right hand. The Art of Dialogue is Gene Deal. Reggie Wright be on Bomb first. So, but anyway, they talked about how there was a call for cuff and frisk. Puffy, Cuba was frisking on some dude on the boat, hanging out with Puffy. That's the story. And I ain't paid Cuba no mind. He did that boat movie. Remember, he did that boat movie where he had to play. He was with what's her name? She was the one that was in the Nick Cannon, the broke Beverly Hills Cop one with Nick, the Mexican chick. Sasha, what's her name? Attractive chick, but she always got them low budget Eva Mendes roles, and she was in a movie with Nick, and she did that boat movie with Cuba. Where everybody was gay on the boat. She was the love interest. She was the one that got regulated to the Eva Mendes sloppy thirds. That's what she ended up getting. Can't think of her name now. Pretty Mexican chick, but she always got like this. And she did a recurring thing on the new Love on the Fantasy Island mess, which that thing didn't last but 3 weeks. Let me see something. I'm gonna do some deep research real quick. I know how I'm gonna find out who I'm talking about. You'll see what I'm talking about. The heck's that movie at? Yeah, let me see if I can find it. They don't say nothing about his whack. Okay, here you go. It's Rosalina Sanchez. That's her. That's the one that did that whack movie. Yeah, Puerto Rican boat trip. Yep, boat trip. They did that whack movie together. And she did that corny movie with Nick, Underclassmen. So there you go. So but anyway. Yeah, I heard about that. Made money off of him. Puffy turned them both out. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, let me address that one. Usher, yeah, I already said about Bieber. And they all went to Puffy camp. Yeah. Her mama was a pimp. Brooke Shields' mama was a pimp. I'll address all of them. I did that video about Sugar Ray because the podcast, he was interviewed by the podcast had Caitlyn Jenner, the former Bruce, Lamar Odom. Now that was a sight to see. I saw the video, but I heard about that Sugar Ray years ago. Happened to Mike Tyson too, Todd Bridges too. See, people, and I did a video about it too. You should check out my video. People always think it's just all entertainment is the same. Wrestlers go through it too. It's a lot more in sports than they laid on to be because it's machismo. You got to suck it up, turn it up. Bieber went to Puffy camp. There's a video up there where he was coming out, hanging out with him. Brooke Shields got turned on by her mama. Her mama had her go out with different male entertainers over the years. Hung with Michael Jackson, hung out with Michael Bolden, hung out with before she married Agassi with George Michael. Yeah. Drew Barrymore as a kid was drinking with Jack Nicholson. But she did ET. She was alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Yep. All that stuff is real. This stuff is all coming to pass. It's just not like nobody's making it up. But what you're seeing is that, like when we talk about music or we talk about movies or we talk about sports, they all in the same ring. They all get spread around. I got a buddy of mine who writes in LA. He tell me all the time, he said, you'd be surprised about some of the football players on the low. Just saying. And I wouldn't be shocked because it's more than what you imagine. Yeah, they were by their daddy. And it was some racist behavior too. The mother just passed too. So that was pretty heavy. The DeBarge stories are pretty sad. Stuff I heard. Yep. That's why I applaud El DeBarge how he stays so upward as an artist, his talents. But he paid a price though. They all did. And Bunny DeBarge is on Facebook. She's very moving, inspirational soul. James DeBarge has gone through a lot of stuff. So yeah, I see it all the time. I heard, for years. Well, yeah. Well, actually, L wasn't like that. The others did. It wasn't until he actually did it. I think the pressure when they're trying to push him solo at Motown and everything, then his vices kicked in. That's real. That's real. Addiction is real. Town and Family Act too. But it's cold. It's a cutthroat business. Well, what I will share with you is this. Yeah, Switch, which with Bobby DeBarge was the leader. He was into all kinds of things and he got turned out way back. He was involved with Latoya Jackson for a minute. Then with Latoya, there was a little funny game they played, but it was known about him. Um, and the DeBarge family, everyone else got into it as time went on. L was the last one to get hooked on all the drugs. As a matter of fact, it was back in '97. I remember when he got working with DJ Quick, which caught me off guard. Quick was one of the few people to actually reach out and bring him in a branch because L was not, no one was touching him. And he got really out there on it. They did. They are one of the most influential and powerful acts far as people been sampling and covering. I think Randy DeBarge the only one that still has his publishing because L and them sold their publishing off. They needed that money. He's been on a comeback trails, and I'm always pulling for him. One of the most naturally talented artists you're going to see, L DeBarge. You know, I follow him on Instagram, and he is impromptu shows, and he performs. You know, still keeps his humor and his wit about him. Yeah, they were some older chicks though. I think there was some prostitutes because Stevie was messing with them girls when he was a kid. hmm Stevie was freaking. That's some funny stories about him. And then of course I'm sure you heard about the herpes and passing on. He messed with multiple women. He's something else. Them blind men you better be careful about. Them blind men like Ray Charles too. Have you ever seen Ray when he grabbed the arm? Them blind men you better be careful of. Them some real freaks. So yeah. Yeah, Ray was into all kinds of stuff. The Raylets and of course the drugs and everything. He did everything under the sun. Ray did everything under the sun. There is no saints in that industry. It's just a matter what your vices are. That's all. But Ray was something else though. Ray knew his money. He knew his business. And Ray knew his women. He was a hard dude. Yeah. So I'm sure you heard about Jada Pinkett messed with one of them, and I think Left Eye, one of them was messing with Chili was. And then they, probably was something strange for some change. That thing was crazy when that popped off because I remember back in '91, Jermaine Dupri was just doing his little intern and them boys hit and blew up. And then that closed on backwards. That thing caught on like fire. And they had to hurry and get the album out. And that thing was big. She won't be. She won't be. She cracked me up how she got all holier than thou about R. Kelly. And I'm like, look, JD, you ain't no saint. But no one cares because women don't be held the same accountability for being prey. They never have. Name me a woman. Even you can go with the teacher Mary Lou Lieutenant. They still make a joke out of it. It's not the same. And in the entertainment industry, they're prey women. They just ain't never been called out. They ain't never been called out. I'm gonna tell you one that I heard allegedly, Susan DePass. Allegedly. Something was going on. But that's a long time ago. Yeah. And also the rumor is kind of, I think, allegedly home team with her, but there was something else going on. So long time ago. See, when you start going into this element, I can go back on a lot of stuff. Oh yeah. And John Stamos acting like he got like he's tweaking, like somebody must have tapped his butter too, because he be kind of tweakish about stuff. Cause Bob Scagger used to talk all kinds of preto jokes. I think they knocked him out too. I don't believe he just hit his head against a pillow and went. Well, I think they turned his lights out. I think they turned his lights off for real. Stamos does. But if he says anything, remember what we said. Remember how your feet, you walk, your eyes, and your behind. Remember, feet, cheeks, and words. He can't give up none of the three. He already, FCW. And see, Stamos came out with that book. They tweaked his nose. He came out and said that Vanity, the former Denise Matthews, had touched him up underneath a table, and he was all offended. You know what to do? I'm like, yeah, okay. He tweaking. He was considered a pretty boy. He was a broke Junior Whopper Tom Cruise. He was a never was who was just gonna be what we call a middle level TV actor. He did not have the goods to make it on the big screen. But one of the white boys that they put up as a teen scene sensation that never really blew up. So that's what's up. But I think he definitely got buttered. I think they buttered him up. I definitely do. Because he too tweaky. Yeah, he was. Now my uncle who worked on the set didn't really talk about that, but yeah. He loved them black boys too. I think he was like Clive Davis. These things just write themselves. I can't help it. He's like Clive of TV. Got all this credit for stuff he didn't do. And we were repeating ourselves. Are we saying deja vu? Can we be saying deja vu again? Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how it repeats itself, ain't it? Because when you said that, I'm thinking Clive of the TV game. He gets credit. All them Jew boys get credit for all the Bud York and all them cats get. I already know he was because just because people put black folks on, don't mean they put you on. Remember that. It's like when you hear white kids blasting rap music in their cars and reading the Source magazine and watching all the hood movies. You ain't necessarily gonna get invited to the cookout. You ain't necessarily gonna get invited to the to the Starbucks with them. They ain't got. They love you like a dream. They love you like a candy bar. Don't get it. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, I didn't have to hear about it. I had to see what he did with his portrayals on TV because Eric Monty and the real life Michael Evans were the ones behind Good Times. How he railroaded John Amos, pushed the Jimmy Walker Kid Dynamite angle, how Esther Rollum had to fight with him. I watched how he benefited off of black shows. I never trust a white anything when it comes to black benefits because that's just a facade. That's either some fetish or it's a facade. It goes one on one. Fetish or facade, you take your pick. Because if you're going to make business and do in bed with, you're gonna do stuff that you won't, but you don't support. It's kind of like Clive in the business. Would someone come on and tell me if Clive was racist? Would I be surprised or shocked? No. Because you know why? Because he can blow up somebody like Puffy, but Puffy can't blow up someone like him. Notice how I said it, just like Ellen Babyface. All right, what's up? How you doing? You know, there's a big difference between, yeah, but he didn't. He was a child actor. He wasn't gonna be a threat, you know. And there was some kind of stuff that came out with him, but he was like a corny, broke Malcolm Jamal Warner. Okay. Neither one give me reparations. If you read my videos, if you watch my videos, what I say about those two bigots. I want reparations. Yeah, he was. His parents turned him out, took all his money. He was making the money. They emptied his bank. They get his piggy bank. I can tell you before your time when Gary Coleman was big at the box office. Right before your time was Macaulay Culkin. But Gary was big as a preteen black actor at the box office. No one talks about it no more. He was bigger than Eddie Murphy before Eddie Murphy blew up. You wouldn't believe me unless you were there or you see for yourself. Carol Coleman was huge. That's why they went and got Emmanuel Lewis. And Emmanuel had some run on TV, but Emmanuel didn't have Gary Coleman's. Gary Coleman, besides what you talking about with us, had some charisma. But his parents pimped him out, turned it out. And then he got stuck with that Michael Jackson lookalike that was chaperoning him. And then Gary was always fighting small man complex. So, yeah, they killed him off. They did. No, anybody who follows my things, I will tell you this TL Adventures, I don't waste my time about. Dana Plato, she got turned out. She was messing with Ty Bridges too, and I think she was pregnant too. There was a lot of stuff going on with them kids on that show. But because they was making so much money off of them, nobody was gonna say nothing. But they did whitewash it. They wanted to make her wholesome. That's what the 80s did, wholesome. But Dana Plato was more, she was looser. She wasn't gonna be on the facts of life, okay? And she was running, you know. They all went through demons. It was no one said nothing because the money was good. I'm telling you. I don't never heard that she was pregnant with Todd's baby. They messed around, but I didn't hear that because Todd was messing with Janet Jackson at the time. I didn't hear it was Todd's baby. But the thing was, she was not, she was pregnant, period. And she was a reckless kind of teen, and they couldn't mold her the way they want. She wasn't gonna have she wasn't gonna be like Alyssa Milano, okay? That's what they like to do with you. especially back then, make you wholesome and goody two shoes. And she wasn't the one. But you know, it was old slave master thing, a white girl prim and proper with two black brothers. And they never ever went there. You know, there was never no, it was so white the way it was. If you think about it, it was a milk toasty presentation. Today, she be getting macked on by one of them brothers. They said, well, we half, it don't count. We adopted. Different day and time. Be interesting. They did, and they did the root reboot with drama. Okay. So that's the one that would be funny if they did that. I don't think they would do that though. So, but it did make me laugh. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you can tell. And then he went after some chick. He got in trouble, but they didn't sweep that underneath the carpet. I'm sure you heard about that. He got busted with some he did, but they didn't. They got him on TV because he's crossover. He's they keep a mic on him. It's almost like he's got video on somebody because that's the only reason why they haven't gone, buried him. That he gotten busted for some messing with somebody. Yep. No, he was freaky deaky. He he violated some chick. That's it. You got Google that, but it's been swept under. It's been swept under. Oh yeah, I kept up about old Mario. Oh yeah, oh yeah. He was gonna be a borderline Menudo boy. They was trying to make him into Ricky Martin of TV. That's what up. Mm-hmm. Yep. All them shows got freaks. So how you think you get on there? I told you before. Something strange for the change. FC. Mm-hmm. They won't though. They won't because he's in good. And believe me, I think he's in good because they got like a long line of folks that they could really unload on. And that's why. Usually when they got a chain of them, they don't mess with them if it's a chain. Yeah, well, he harassed her though. He harassed her. That took a while for that to get messed over because Martin married a woman that looked like her and stuff was strange. Yeah, he was obsessed with her. I think it's the first time he made some money and a light skinned chicken, he lost his mind. Oh yeah. That's why if you ever watch any of the episodes of Martin after the third or fourth year, they had to have separate like he was away on business. Because she filed a complaint against him. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why they didn't work together the last couple of years because there was a harassment suit. His ex-wife looked like her. His ex-wife and him broke up and she married Emmett Smith. I think that's yeah. You can see it for yourself, but yeah. Oh yeah. Martin had some stuff going on. He's calmed way down now though. But he was wilding back then though. He was wild. A lot of them were. A lot of stuff you didn't hear. Because again, when you got the lawyers, you got the business, they got ways of protecting their assets. That's the key word. Protect your assets. Stuff you don't hear. There's a reason why him and Will can team up so well. They both got a lot of company protecting them. Nothing new. I got it ready to go and eat. I will be back tomorrow. And I appreciate everybody coming through different work. Yeah, the story real quickly. The Jasmine guy. There was a rumors about Debbie Allen. There was some wildness on there. None of them really blew up if you think about it per se. Sinbad had a career. Obviously, Glenn Truman Jr. But most of them never really. Marissa Tomei went off, and she did won the Oscar. But originally it was geared towards um, Lisa Bonet and Tomei, and then they turned into more of a black thing. And they that's what Debbie Allen. And I heard a lot of crazy stories were going on, but yeah, but it didn't get the kind of. It was a black thing, black college life, but you know, but there's a lot of politics in there where a lot of people didn't really get they due. All right, I will be back tomorrow. Appreciate everybody coming through. Always right on to it. We got a lot of topics. So let's run this back tomorrow. We hit on a lot of punchlines. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate everyone that came through. Words, comments, thoughts. Stay safe, stay warm, be careful. Welcome to spring. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Peace. Appreciate everybody. I'll catch you tomorrow. I'm out.